Hi there, I'm Kara O, and this is another edition of Lip Smack and Love. And today is Single Saturday, and I have Jonathon Aslay with me. His website is relationshipconfidant.com. And we've been having some pretty great conversations on camera and off. And there's one I wanted to talk more in depth about. One of our earlier videos that we did was about the 6 relationship types. And go down those, just kind of go through them. Okay. And if they want to learn more, they can search for that video.
Sure. Well, the 6 types of relationships that I've identified are, first it's the family guy. He's the one who wants to be in a family.
Right.
Next is the man who's codependent guy. Okay. He's in a relationship because he needs someone in his life.
Right.
Okay. Next is the guy, he's out of his league. He's with a woman who's just fabulous to him, out of his league. So next is the control freak or the controlling man, typically obsessive, very possessive, property-oriented type of personality. And then the next 2 is Mr. Complacent and also joy, a man who's in a state of joy. So those are the 6 types of relationships I've identified over the years.
And I believe that that women should be aware of all of those and then go for the guy that's in a state of joy. That seems like the healthiest.
Okay.
And then when we were done with that last segment and the camera was off, you talked about how you go from joy to complacency, and you have all these married friends, and it seems that it's more often than not. They go from joy to complacency, and to me, that I call that you're just roommates.
Absolutely,
at that stage. You're just roommates. Sometimes it gets pretty icy, and you're just a couple of icebergs, hoping not to, So.
Well, in fact, that's kind of what even happened in my own marriage. We became roommates. We actually slept in separate rooms. And I was in a state of complacency. And the thing is, when we talk about a state of joy, to the man who's in a relationship, again, I come from the man's perspective, so I'm talking about it from this perspective.
That's why you're here.
Okay. Is that when a man's in a state of joy, he's happy, he's excited. And he could be a family guy as well, or it could just be, just a couple. That with no children, is that when that man's happy, he's excited to be with you. He comes home, he shares his life with you. Okay, because he's looking forward to it. And again, that's probably usually your best friend. The woman to a man, the woman who's the best friend to a man, I mean, he'll share everything in his life.
Right.
And he's looking forward to doing that. But something usually happens in the relationship. Things start to change. I see it with my married friends so often, and I know so many of my married friends that they're in a state of complacency.
Do they talk about it? They probably don't.
Interestingly
enough,
noticing
it.
When I went through my divorce and I started to share what was going on, all of a sudden my male friends started to ask me questions. And then guess what we did? We started to get together more often. We started to get together. Now we have a boys' night out. All of us went from hanging out all the time to getting married, starting families, and then we separated.
Right.
And now, and it turns out one of my other good friends is going through a divorce. Same issues. It went from joy to complacency. I mean, there's other things going on in the marriage. And again, it's not just the woman, the issues with the woman or the man.
Both sides.
There's 2 sides to every story. But oftentimes, in particular, one of my friends his wife is just nagging him all day long. He feels he's carrying an 800-pound gorilla on his back. I mean, he's working all day. His mindset is, look, I'm going to be the provider, okay? And so he's in complacent mode.
Right.
So there's no joy when he comes home. In fact, he even shared with me his real joy is just to spend his time with his children. That's it. And who wants to be in that kind of marriage? And the difference is, now some men say, you know what, I want to go find joy. That's the men who tend to cheat. Okay, they go out and find that joy, even if it's just an occasional bit of joy. They're trying to find it elsewhere. So it's, again, since it's a 2-way street, you both have to be able to communicate, and that's usually what happens in relationships. They just stop communicating.
Do you also feel like when part of the development of complacency, I think, from what I watch, is that that passion, the sexual spark and all of that kind of dies down as it does. And if you don't continue to I think, being playful throughout the day.
Yeah.
And part of being playful is there's a flirting energy around it. And so you're kind of always keeping a little bit of sparkle going.
Yeah.
And when you become resentful because she's nagging and you're doing all the work and you're never being appreciated, then that physical desire to be with each other goes away, and then, that kind of adds to it. Or does...
What happens is, and a lot of people don't realize that we talk about women who are nurturers, right? Nurturing is a masculine energy. You're giving. You're constantly giving all day long.
Right.
That's a masculine energy.
That's what Cherry Norris says, too.
So what women need to do is to transition from their masculine energy to their feminine energy, okay? So when he comes home, especially if you've been running around taking care of kids all day long, you have to find a way to transition so that when you're with your man, you're in your feminine energy, he's in his masculine energy. Okay.
Well, yeah, and what I advise women is so that dynamic, so you don't become mom.
Yeah.
Is that you want to do things for him, and he wants you to, but do it as payment for him being the great guy that he is. If you keep that energy that I am doing this because I appreciate so much what you do for me and what you bring to my life and what a great dad you are, what a great husband you are, what a great provider, all of those things, it makes me want to do things for you. I love cooking dinner for you because you're such a perfect husband for me. Then you end up being in the feminine.
Absolutely.
And encouraging the masculine. The last secret in my book, Men Made Easy, is, and I told you the new version of it is, if I can remember it, a man wants to be with a woman who encourages him to enjoy being a man.
Yeah.
And that keeps the woman being the woman.
Yeah.
And she gets to remind herself why she has this guy in her life, because they forget.
Oh, absolutely.
They start focusing on those few things that don't work.
And that's what he's not doing. It's always about what he's not doing.
I know.
And he comes home, feels unappreciated.
Absolutely.
And so he's just, matter of fact, I remember I used to get up at 5 in the morning so I could get out of the house. I'd work late so I didn't have to come home. And I see that with so many of particularly my married friends.
Absolutely,
okay?
yeah.
It's a little bit different people that are in, have just started relationships.
Well, and they're still in the sparkly stage.
But without a doubt. And it's about appreciating. And again, I know it's kind of the chicken or the egg.
Yeah.
With women want men to start, initiate, but this is really, I think, if you want a healthier, happier relationship at home, is initiate that appreciation.
Absolutely.
That's all it is.
Absolutely.
If he doesn't give at that point, then it's a whole different dynamic. You have every right to want more from that, but at least try it. What's the worst thing that can happen?
Absolutely, that's right. Well, in a dating, this is dating that we're talking about. In a dating relationship, there is a point where you settle in, you become a committed couple, you're not dating anyone else, you're not having sex with anyone else, and you start relaxing.
Yeah.
You spend more time at one or the other's place, or you move in, which, they do that way too early in my mind. But then she goes into nurturing mode.
Yeah.
And he's doing all this stuff for me. He likes it, but the spice goes away. And so that's where I remind women, no, keep doing. I think when you're first falling in love, keep a journal of all the things that you love about him. Okay. Why are you thrilled that this is the guy that showed up? And then remind yourself of that, because you're going to go, but he doesn't do that one thing. It's like, no, but look at the list, And you have to work. That's why they say relationships take work.
This is going to be another topic I'm going to talk about, is being picky. But you know what? Going back to the person that's in a relationship and they get complacent. There's complacency.
Sure.
Once you start into that mode, is that how do I say this? It's again appreciating each other.
Yes.
Really always being in a state of appreciation. I think without a doubt is the most important thing. Whether you're married or you're in a new relationship.
Well, even friendships.
Exactly.
It's how to interact with coworkers, girlfriends, guy friends, family members.
Yeah.
We forget how important that is to appreciate this person that's in your life. That's part of the whole gratitude thing. It's like, why am I grateful that you're in my life?
Well, you said something earlier, going back to the woman who gives too much.
Uh-huh.
When a woman gives too much, that in other words, it's over. In other words, the relationship has to have balance, too.
Right.
So I wanted to at least make a comment about giving too much in the relationship.
Yeah. Oh, my God. We have lots to talk about. We're not done yet. But we are for now. I'm Kara O. This is Jonathon Aslay, and we are wishing you lots of lip smack and love. Mwah.
Mwah.